place where I think all of us imagine, you know, the gods of trail has created all this trail and bequeathed it to mountain biking. It's not so. There are lots of trails there. As David will tell you, a lot of them are cow paths on BLM land that the BLM Bureau of Land Management, one bureaucracy that we don't have to deal with in this side of the Mississippi, thought weren't trails until mountain bikers used them. And then when mountain bikers used them, they recognized they were trails. They reluctantly allowed mountain biking on some of them and closed others, creating all kinds of grief for mountain bikers in Colorado. So really, by the way, David's traveled here on his own pay, pretty much. He's not being paid a great salary to be here. He's here because he loves mountain biking and advocacy, and he believes in what we're doing, and he's here to impart some of his experience and wisdom for us today. So let's have a big welcome.
You get what you pay for sometimes. I don't do too much of the public speaking thing. I get nervous and all that, but I'll do my best here. First of all, I just want to say big thank you to Tom for the invite. And we talked about it, it was Interbike last year, right? That's where we got started on this. And SORBA, the organization, thank you very much. Every one of you, all the clubs, the Knoxville area. It's kind of funny. Tom says maybe I can motivate you guys a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys have motivated me. I do a lot of the same things that some of you guys are doing in trying to establish trail systems and work with advocacy. And like you guys, I kind of go like this as far as my motivation and how fired up I am to keep going and just keep moving on. And Tom said we've done some great things in Gunnison, but you guys have it going on down here. We're not building anything. We're not building anything. And all I've really heard about is building trail down here. And that's phenomenal. We're still, at least in the Gunnison area, for 6 years I've built this. You know, it's a big goose egg. We have some trails that we haven't been successful with. We're still working. The partnerships and the relationships are progressing. So, and you guys I think have been in this position earlier on. But I think that SORBA is on the cutting edge. And I've really learned that in the last 18 hours of talking to Tom and hearing you all today. I think you guys might be on the cutting edge of what's happening trail-wise in the U.S. So I commend you for all of that. Pretty informal questions at any time are fine. And at the end, if we want to do a little Q&A, we can. I'm just going to run through a little bit about myself and what I guess my journey has been. That it all goes back to a couple things. It's first and foremost it's exploration. I think everybody in here that rides a mountain bike likes to get out and explore, and it's one of the things that really attracts us to it. And then the bicycle, of course, and the trail. And those three things are the only thing more important to me than those three things are my family, of course, my wife Susan and our three boys. But it all started a long time ago, and this is a story that I don't remember because I was 2.5 or 3. I just rode my trike away from the house one day and was just gone. And my mom was kind of freaking out. And they found me. I just decided to ride 4 or 5 blocks away to a playground and play on the playground. But that independence, that spirit of exploration, and you guys all know it too. So that's been really important. I remember when my dad took the training wheels off, age 4 or 5 or however old I was. Never forget riding down the street and just that exhilaration on an old hand-me-down bicycle, and then that first brand new bike that I got when I was 6. Waking up early in the morning, hey, Mom and Dad, it's my birthday. Oh, go downstairs and turn some music on. Go down and there's this, I don't even remember the brand. It was probably a Schwinn Stingray of some sort of banana seed, 8 handlebars, and never forget that. You guys all probably have that same experience somewhere too. And then I grew up in suburban Denver, so we would ride on trails. There were a lot of vacant lots, and those lots got ridden by motorcycles mainly, and so there were some trails. And that was really the first time I rode single track. And the trails I'm talking about, we got humps of dirt and not necessarily bird turns and nothing like what Trail Solutions building now, but you get that feel for what the trail riding a single track is like. And you felt that at a really young age, and of course the mountain bike didn't exist then, but certainly recognized that was a very fun feeling. And you guys are all familiar with Vail, and Vail has hosted some really big mountain bike races. I think a couple of world championships and world cups. And of course, I've raced there several times over my career. But in 1975 or 76, I rented a bike. It was a Stingray coaster brake bike in downtown Vail. We used to go up there in our summers and spend a little time. And I remember pedaling it initially, but it didn't last long because it was a single speed, pushing it up maybe two or three switchbacks, not very high on the mountain, and then coming flying down those gravel roads. And I remember thinking it wasn't that much fun because it wasn't a trail. It was a gravel road, it was a coaster brake, but there was still some sort of exhilaration in being able to do that on a bicycle. And then my bike was just my freedom when I was a kid. The bike allowed me to go wherever I wanted to go, and I'm sure you guys did as much the same. And I know it was my freedom, and I know that it had to do with transportation to a certain extent, because when I turned 16 and got a driver's license, I quit riding my bike, and I didn't need it anymore. I had a car, and I was into whitewater kayaking and skiing, and I was driving to ski areas and driving rivers, and wasn't thinking too much about the bike. Although being involved in those sports, and this was late 70s, getting into the early 80s, the mountain bike was starting to show up, and I worked in a shop. It was a ski shop, bike shop, backpack. And it was the fall. I was heading to Jackson Hole to live for the winter and get ski boat, so I didn't really ride the bicycle a whole lot, but I had it around. And the next summer, I ended up driving to Alaska to be a river guide, and that was where I did my first real mountain biking. It was the summer of 1986 in Denali National Park. There were a lot of trails around what's called McKinley Village, where we were living near there and doing river guiding on the river there. I'm sure those trails are closed to bikes now, but then they hadn't seen many mountain bikes, if any, and they were fun, very short trails, but fun. The deal there was there were brown bears, and so I put a bell on the bikes and made a bunch of noise, and not being too sophisticated, I was riding in jeans and sneakers and didn't know any differently, but that was a great experience. And then later that summer, I did my first 2 mountain bike races in Alaska. An organization up there, I'm not sure if they still exist, IMBA, the Mountain Bikers, or Mountain Biking Association of Alaska. They put on the Identify in some of those events from back in the day.